Welcome to the Voice of Truth, UX the Voice of Peace, a unique collaborative initiative with Dangers of the Silent Corner. This platform is designed for young people who are eager to understand the world beyond the headlines. Here we dive deep into the historical, geopolitical, spiritual, religious, and scientific principles that shape our societies and drive technological progress. Our goal is to create a space where curiosity is encouraged and critical thinking is nurtured. By bringing together diverse perspectives, we hope to foster a generation that values truth and peace. Let's embark on this enlightening journey together, exploring the forces that have shaped our past and continue to influence our present. The heart of our platform lies a commitment to understanding the foundational principles that govern our world. We examine history to learn from past events, analyze geopolitics to understand power dynamics, and delve into spiritual and religious teachings to appreciate the diversity of human experience. Science and technology are also central, as they continue to revolutionize our lives and societies. By connecting these fields, we provide a holistic view that empowers youth to see the bigger picture. This comprehensive approach helps young people develop the analytical skills and wisdom needed to navigate an increasingly complex world. Each topic is explored with depth and respect for differing viewpoints, ensuring a balanced and informed discourse. Our mission is clear: to empower young people with the knowledge and insight needed to make informed decisions about their lives and the world around them. By engaging with our platform, youth gain access to resources and discussions that challenge assumptions and inspire thoughtful action. We believe that informed youth are the key to a peaceful and progressive future. Through open dialogue and collaborative learning, we aim to build a community where every voice matters and every question is valued. Join us as we continue to explore, learn, and grow together, shaping not only our own futures but the future of our global community. Neath the sprawling branches of an ancient fig tree, Kenlino and Christine found themselves surrounded by the gentle hush of nature and the weight of history. The tree's shade was more than just relief from the sun. It was a living tapestry, woven with the stories and memories of generations. Here the two sat quietly, hearts brimming with a message they longed to share. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the tree itself was listening in on what was about to unfold. This was not just another day in the village, it was the beginning of something that could change everything. Lino and Christine didn't come with thunder or threats. Instead, their words were soft, inviting, and deeply personal. They spoke of a faith that wasn't about fear or judgment, but about a quiet inner connection, a way to know God that felt both new and profound. Their message was like a gentle breeze, stirring curiosity rather than resistance. The villagers listened, some with open minds, others with skepticism, but all sensing that something different was being offered. It was an invitation to explore, not a demand to change. Before Kenlino and Christine could share a single scripture, Itoto, the respected matriarch, rose to speak. Her presence commanded attention, her face marked by years of wisdom, and her voice, though gentle, carried the weight of generations. She reminded everyone that their traditions had always honored God, sustaining the village through countless seasons. To abandon these ways, she said, would be like cutting themselves off from their very roots. Her words resonated deeply, stirring emotions and memories in everyone present. Standing beside Itoto was Lamoti, a man whose spirit was as unyielding as the staff he gripped. His voice boomed across the gathering, declaring that their rituals were the very essence of their identity. Lamoti's conviction was clear: he would defend their ways with every breath. His words sparked a wave of agreement as villagers nodded and murmured their support. The air grew charged with a passionate defense of the familiar, and a growing fear of what change might bring. As Lamoti's words echoed, more villagers stood up, their voices joining in a chorus of protest and confusion. The crowd became a living wave, each person adding their own fears and hopes to the mix. The debate was no longer just about faith, it was about belonging, about the comfort of the known versus the uncertainty of the new. The air was thick with emotion as the village wrestled with the idea of change. Lino and Christine listened intently, their hearts aching with empathy for the villagers' struggle. They understood the pain of letting go, the fear of losing something precious. Rather than pushing back, they allowed the voices to be heard, showing respect for the traditions and the people who held them dear. Their patience and compassion began to soften the tension, creating space for a real conversation to begin. When the crowd's voices finally faded, Kenlino stood up. His posture was relaxed, but his presence was commanding. He spoke with a soothing calm, assuring everyone that he wasn't asking them to forget their past. Instead, he invited them to imagine their faith as a river, one that could flow into a deeper, wider ocean. God's love, he said, wasn't trapped in the past. It was alive, ready to embrace them in new and unexpected ways. Christine stepped forward, her eyes shining with sincerity. She urged the villagers to see this moment not as an ending, but as a new beginning. Her voice trembled with emotion as she spoke of a love that wanted to know each person by name, a love that reached out to every heart. Her words were a raw, honest plea for understanding, inviting everyone to consider a faith that was deeply personal and alive. Conversation stretched on, becoming a passionate tug-of-war between the old and the new. Some villagers clung tightly to their traditions, while others began to wonder if there might be room for something more. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows and adding a sense of urgency to the debate. It was clear that this was not a simple decision, but a journey that would take time and courage. As the sun began to set, the village was caught in a moment of suspense. No one knew which way the conversation would turn. The air was thick with anticipation as everyone waited for someone to break the stalemate. It was a moment that felt both fragile and full of possibility, as if the entire village was holding its breath. Finally, it was Lamoti who broke the silence. His eyes, once filled with suspicion, now showed a glimmer of respect for Kenlino and Christine. He acknowledged that they spoke of a book, something he had never truly considered. With a softer voice, Lamoti suggested that perhaps they should hear what it had to say. His willingness to listen marked a turning point, opening the door to a new kind of conversation. Tension in the air eased as a collective sigh of relief rippled through the crowd. For the first time there was a sense of hope, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, the village could find a way forward together. Itoto, ever the thoughtful leader, nodded in agreement. She suggested that they meet again, promising to listen with open hearts. The promise of another conversation was a small but significant step toward understanding. That day no one was converted. There were no dramatic changes or sudden decisions. Instead, what was built was far more precious, a fragile bridge of trust and curiosity. The villagers agreed to listen, to hear new stories, and to consider new possibilities. It was a beginning, not an end, and everyone sensed that something important had shifted. Listening became the most powerful act of the day. By choosing to hear each other out, the villagers and the visitors created space for understanding and growth. It was a reminder that real change often begins with a willingness to listen, to set aside assumptions, and to open one's heart to new ideas. This simple act laid the foundation for whatever might come next. The village stood at a crossroads, balancing the weight of tradition with the promise of change. For generations, their rituals had been the backbone of their identity. Now they faced the challenge of integrating something new without losing themselves. It was a delicate dance requiring both courage and respect for the past. Faith was no longer seen as a fixed destination but as a journey, one that could evolve and deepen over time. Kenlino and Christine's invitation was not to abandon the past, but to let faith grow, to let it become something even more meaningful. The villagers began to see that their story was still being written and that they had the power to shape its next chapter. Itoto's leadership was crucial in guiding the village through this moment of uncertainty. Her wisdom and willingness to listen set the tone for respectful dialogue. By honoring both the old and the new, she helped the community find common ground. Her example showed that true leadership is about bringing people together, not dividing them. The fragile bridge built that day was not made of wood or stone, but of trust and willingness to listen. It was a promise to meet again, to keep the conversation going. This bridge was the first step toward a new kind of community, one that could honor its roots while reaching for something greater. Stories have always been at the heart of the village's traditions. Now new stories were being added to the tapestry. Kenlino and Christine's message was not meant to erase the old, but to add another thread, one that could enrich the whole. The villagers began to see that their story could be both ancient and new. Despite their differences, the villagers remained united. Their shared love for their home and each other was stronger than any disagreement. The debate, though passionate, never turned to anger. Instead, it became a testament to the strength of their bonds and their willingness to grow together. Kenlino and Christine made it clear that respecting the past was essential. They honored the traditions that had shaped the village, recognizing their value and beauty. By showing respect, they earned the villagers' trust and opened the door to meaningful dialogue. As the sun set, the village looked to the future with a mix of hope and uncertainty. The promise to meet again was a small light in the darkness, a sign that change was possible. Everyone sensed that tomorrow could bring new understanding, new friendships, and new beginnings. For the villagers, faith was deeply tied to their identity. The rituals and stories of their ancestors were woven into the fabric of who they were. The challenge was to find a way to embrace something new without losing themselves. It was a journey of self-discovery, both as individuals and as a community. The promise to meet again was more than just a plan, it was the beginning of a new conversation. Both sides agreed to listen, to share, and to learn from each other. This willingness to engage was the true victory of the day, setting the stage for deeper understanding and growth. Doubt played an important role in the day's events. It was not a sign of weakness but of honesty. The villagers' questions and concerns showed that they cared deeply about their faith and their future. By acknowledging doubt, they created space for real exploration and discovery. Curiosity became a gift that day. Lamodi's willingness to hear about the book was a sign that even the most steadfast could be open to new ideas. Curiosity bridged the gap between old and new, turning suspicion into possibility. It was a reminder that growth begins with a simple question: what if? Throughout the debate, the strength of the community shone through. Even in disagreement, the villagers supported one another. Their unity was their greatest asset, allowing them to face challenges together and to move forward as one. Kenlino and Christine's message was about a new kind of faith, one that was personal, alive, and open to change. They invited the villagers to see faith not as a set of rules but as a living relationship. This idea was both exciting and unsettling, challenging everyone to rethink what they believed. Itoto's words reminded everyone of the weight of generations. The traditions of the past were not just rituals, they were the legacy of those who had come before. Honoring this legacy was essential, even as the village looked to the future. Listening takes courage, especially when it means facing uncomfortable truths. The villagers showed bravery by opening their hearts and minds to new ideas. Their willingness to listen was the first step toward real transformation. Though no one was converted that day, the village was transformed in subtle ways. The conversation had planted seeds of change, and everyone sensed that something new was beginning to grow. Transformation, they realized, often starts with a single conversation. As night fell, hope lingered in the air. The villagers knew that the journey ahead would not be easy, but they were willing to take the first step. The promise to meet again was a beacon, guiding them toward a future filled with possibility. Dialogue became the most valuable tool the village had. Through honest conversation, they were able to bridge divides and find common ground. Dialogue allowed them to honor their differences while working toward a shared future. Uncertainty was a constant companion on this journey. The villagers learned to embrace it, seeing it not as a threat but as an opportunity for growth. By stepping into the unknown, they discovered new strengths and possibilities. Kenlino and Christine's invitation was ultimately an invitation to grow. They encouraged the villagers to let their faith evolve to become something richer and deeper. Growth, they reminded everyone, is a lifelong journey. The village's diversity became its strength. Different perspectives and experiences enriched the conversation, making the community stronger and more resilient. Diversity was celebrated, not feared. With the promise to meet again, the village turned the page to a new chapter. The story was far from over, in fact, it was just beginning. Everyone sensed that the days ahead would bring new challenges and new opportunities for growth. At the heart of the day's events was a simple truth: love and understanding are more powerful than fear and division. By choosing to listen and to care, the villagers and their guests created the possibility for real change. The promise to return and continue the conversation was a sign of hope. It showed that the village was willing to keep moving forward, to keep learning and growing together. The journey was just beginning and everyone was invited to take part. Kenlino and Christine's message was about a faith that could cross boundaries between people, between generations, and between old and new. Their invitation was to let love and understanding be the bridge that connected everyone. The strength of the village lay in its ability to come together, even in the face of disagreement. Their unity and resilience were the foundation on which they could build a new future. Together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey that began under the fig tree was far from over. It would take time, patience, and many more conversations. But the villagers were ready to walk this path together, trusting that each step would bring them closer to understanding. An invitation can be a powerful thing. Kenlino and Christine's gentle approach opened doors that force never could. Their willingness to listen and to care made all the difference, showing that real change begins with kindness. The bridge built that day was fragile, but it was real. It was a promise to keep talking, to keep listening, and to keep growing together. The villagers knew that the journey would not be easy, but they were willing to try. As night settled over the village, everyone sensed that a new journey had begun. The promise to meet again was more than just words, it was a commitment to walk together into the unknown. With open hearts and open minds, the villagers and their guests looked forward to the next chapter of their shared story. Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we bring you a message from the voice of truth, the voice of peace. Our focus is on the youth of today and the incredible power that comes from knowing your history. By understanding the events that have shaped our past, we gain the ability to better grasp the complexities of the present. History is not just a collection of dates and facts, it is a critical lens through which we can see the patterns, triumphs, and mistakes that have influenced our communities, our nations, and the world at large. This foundation sets the stage for everything that follows, helping us navigate the present with greater awareness. We recognize the influences of history, we gain a clearer perspective on current events. This understanding allows us to make more informed and accurate decisions about our future. By looking at the patterns of the past, both the successes and the failures, we can avoid repeating mistakes and instead build on what has worked. This knowledge is not just academic, it is crucial for fostering loving and peaceful coexistence. Seeing our shared history enables us to build bridges of empathy and understanding, helping us connect with others on a deeper level and work together towards a better tomorrow. Peaceful and loving world is possible when we commit to justice, fairness, equality, and equity for all. By learning from past conflicts and recognizing our shared humanity, we can strive to create a society where every individual is treated with respect and kindness. This vision of unity is not just a dream, it is a goal we can work towards together. As we move forward, let us remember that history is our guide, and together we can build a future defined by peace and understanding. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and may the message of love and unity inspire you every day.